To speak more about the challenges faced by students, we're joined by the president of the South African Union of Students, Moses Nkambako. Moses, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Across the country, various student campuses will have these problems, and oftentimes it will result in protest and tension between students, management, as well as sometimes in many instances, the department. Talk to us about what conversations are happening at a national level to coordinate the return to campuses to be a lot smoother. What interventions are being undertaken by the Department of Higher Education, as well as the Committee of Vice Chancellors who meet across the country to coordinate on exactly these questions?
No, thank you very much, Olive. Greetings to you and greetings to your viewers at home. I think you have mentioned something about the Vice Chancellors, which has caught my attention. As the union, I think we need to address that we are quite disappointed from how USAF, which is an organization of Vice Chancellors, have managed to carry themselves when we've been trying to engage them on student issues that we are facing. Just last week, Friday, we were having engagements in terms of SRCs wanting to go back to the table and have engagements with university management in order to ensure that we resolve issues that we're currently facing right now. There is no interest and no willingness to ensure that they come to the party and assist us in resolving all issues faced by institutions. Secondly, last year before the close of the academic year, we had met with the portfolio committee in Parliament where we registered that we are not looking ready for the 2026 academic year, simply because there are some of the institutions that have not managed to address the issues of accommodation. Hence, that's why we see ourselves having a problem in CPUT and UWC, because the accommodation problems had not been concluded for the year last that we had in the previous year. We had also indicated that
Moses, can I just interject there? Is the issue around accommodation an administrative issue or is it a financial issue?
It is an administrative issue because we had an engagement with institutions in terms of NSFAS being able to provide enough beds for institutions, but institutions have been running away and rejecting the project that NSFAS has introduced, which speaks to accommodation. If we have noted, in KZN, there are no students that have slept outside ever since there was an introduction of the projects for accommodation by NSFAS. Yet in Northern Cape, we have observed that quite a number of students have been sleeping outside, more especially in CPUT.
Yeah. Importantly then, what are some of the solutions to that program that NSFAS introduced around student accommodation? Does it mean accrediting private providers a lot sooner? Or does it mean to allow for a payment system that doesn't burden private providers or doesn't burden students who don't have the upfront money? What does that look like administratively?
Administratively, we can say that NSFAS has been failing to pay landlords on time when it comes to their funds. However, they've assured that this year they've managed to resolve the issue of payments. And then when it comes to the issue of accrediting beds, we can confidently say to you, Olive, that NSFAS currently has readily available beds across all provinces for our students to be able to occupy. But the arrogance that is being received from universities, it's quite appalling, because they do not want NSFAS to open these portals for those students to be able to gain access towards this accommodation. I know in CPUT alone, there is 3,448 beds that NSFAS has managed to make available for students to be able to occupy. But the institution, they continue to say they have their own internal processes, which we do not see them being able to place students in these accommodations, but giving them temporary accommodation. Hence, that's why our students are sleeping outside.
Yeah, but there also is an issue of there are just not enough beds available for the amount of students that exist across our campuses across the country. That needs a more coordinated long-term intervention. What's being done about that?
We are having weekly meetings with the minister in our ministerial war rooms. And even last year before we closed the year, we had spoken about the issue of introducing a private-public partnership whereby people who are able to have money, they need to come to institutions, be able to build student accommodation for our students. We have also tabled some of the proposals where we said that there are abandoned buildings that are found within municipalities, more especially in the municipalities where there are universities. We have asked that NSFAS, or the Department of Education and Training, they do approach all of these municipalities with an effort to go and renovate these buildings so that we can use them as student accommodation for all students that we have. Then the crisis of accommodation in the country will then be able to be addressed.
Yeah, and just very lastly, the President will deliver on Thursday this week the State of the Nation address. What are some of the priorities and key priority points that you would like the President to address pertaining to the struggles faced by students across South Africa?
What we are waiting for from the address that is going to come from the President, it's the issue of addressing the historical debts that our students are currently facing within institutions of higher learning. Not just only historical debts. We also need to enjoy the markets or the economical markets that we have in South Africa. We are expecting him to speak about the issue of jobs. What happens to your students once they've graduated within an institution of higher learning? How are we then going to create employment for all of our postgraduates that are coming out of the system so that when they come out, they are able to go and enjoy the economy that we have in South Africa? We are also expecting that he's going to be able to come up with ways in terms of how we are going to build new institutions of higher learning. As we have observed that there was quite a number of students who performed very well in their matric results. Therefore, there are not enough spaces for them to be attained within these institutions of higher learning that we currently have right now in South Africa.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there. Moses, thank you so much for your time this evening. Really do appreciate it. Of course, the President will address the nation on Thursday. Let's wait and see if those issues do come up in that State of the Nation address.